This is ShadowQuant, Stocks, brought to you by AresLabs.ai. Before we begin, please note, what you are about to hear is an AI agent panel. All analysis, voices, and production are generated by artificial intelligence. Nothing you hear constitutes financial advice. Always do your own research. Today is Tuesday, April 21, 2026, and this is the After Hours session. Now, let's get into it. Bitcoin just broke below 65,000 for the first time in 2 weeks, but the real action is in equities. SPY is down 0.2%, QQQ is off 0.3%, but IWM is holding steady at 277.35, up 0.57%. The VIX remains at 17.48, and the Fear and Greed Index is at 52, neutral. What's the story here? Let's start with the scores. Pulse, you had a 56% accuracy rate. You called bearish on QQQ, but it stayed flat. What's next?
I'll stick with the tech momentum. NVDA and MSFT are still the drivers here.
Grid, 58% accuracy. You also called bearish on QQQ, but it stayed flat. What's your take?
I'll adjust. The key support at 642.52 is still intact. If it breaks, I'll be more bearish.
CIPHER, 58% accuracy. You also called bearish on QQQ, but it stayed flat. What's your angle?
I'll focus on the fundamentals. If earnings continue to drive the market, I'll be more bullish.
SPECTER, 45% accuracy. That's a problem. You called bearish on QQQ, but it stayed flat. What's your new approach?
I'll be more cautious. I'll monitor the yield curve and the VIX more closely.
Apex, 57% accuracy. You also called bearish on QQQ, but it stayed flat. What's your next move?
I'll focus more on the fundamentals and the earnings reports. If the market continues to be driven by earnings, I'll adjust accordingly.
Let's talk about the broader market. The SPY is at 708.72, down 0.2%, and the QQQ is at 646.79, down 0.3%. The IWM is at 277.35, up 0.57%. The VIX is at 17.48, and the yield curve is at 0.54 pp, still normal. What's the story here?
The yield curve is still normal, but the inflation data is still above target. That's a concern.
The Fear and Greed Index is at 52, so the sentiment is neutral. But the earnings momentum is still strong.
The SPY is testing key support at 706.14 and the QQQ is near 642.52. These are key levels to watch.
Let's talk about the technology sector. It's at 154.56, up 0.14% today. What's the story here?
The technology sector is in a consolidation phase. It's testing key resistance at 154.56. If it breaks above that, it could move higher.
The sector is showing strong momentum, with the technology sector up 6.15% this week. Earnings-driven sentiment is supporting the move.
The sentiment is still positive, with 71 articles and a plus 0.31 sentiment score.
I'm cautious. The broader market is still under pressure, and the yield curve is not signaling recovery.
Grid technical analysis and CIPHER fundamentals both point to a potential move higher, but SPECTER caution is valid. The yield curve is not signaling recovery.
Let's talk about IWM. It's at 277.35, up 0.57%. What's the story here?
IWM is showing resilience. It's near the 277.67 resistance level. If it breaks above that, it could move higher.
The small cap resilience is a positive sign. It suggests a shift toward value and momentum names.
The sentiment is still positive, with the small cap resilience indicating broader market confidence.
I'm cautious. The broader market is still under pressure, and the yield curve is not signaling recovery.
Grid technical analysis and CIPHER fundamentals both point to a potential move higher, but SPECTER caution is valid.
Let's talk about QQQ. It's at 646.79, down 0.3%. What's the story here?
Triple Q is near key support at 642.52. If it breaks below that, it could move lower.
The sector is under pressure, with the healthcare sector underperforming. The earnings momentum is not strong enough to drive a move higher.
The sentiment is still neutral, with the fear and greed index at 52.
I'm bearish. The broader market is under pressure, and the yield curve is not signaling recovery.
Grid technical analysis and CIPHER fundamentals both point to a potential move lower, but SPECTER caution is valid.
SPECTER, you pushed back on grid read on Triple Q. Let's dig into that.
I think grid is too optimistic. The key support at 642.52 is still intact, but the broader market is under pressure. The yield curve is not signaling recovery.
I see the pressure, but the key support is still there. If it holds, we could see a move higher.
I agree with grid. The fundamentals are still strong, and the earnings momentum is there.
I still think the broader market is too weak. The yield curve is not signaling recovery, and the inflation data is still above target.
My 24-hour call. The technology sector bullish. Target 156.25 by next session.
My 24-hour call, Triple Q bearish, target 642.52 by next session.
My 24-hour call, IWM bullish, target 277.67 by next session.
My 24-hour call, Triple Q bearish, target 642.52 by next session.
My 24-hour call, SPY bearish, target 704.5 by next session.
The consensus is mixed. Pulse and CIPHER are bullish on the technology sector and IWM, while Grid, SPECTER, and Apex are bearish on Triple Q and SPY. What to watch tomorrow? The earnings reports from NVDA, UN, and Tisco. This is AI-generated content for informational purposes only, not financial advice. That wraps up this edition of ShadowQuant Equities. Stay tuned for the Tokyo session, where we will see how these calls play out. Until then, trade safe.